might like to see it then, mightn't they?
We're recording now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, with regard to the hall then, because obviously we would have been going into the hall in the next couple of months to have some presentations, some talks. At the moment, we've carried out a risk assessment. We're waiting for the Welsh Assembly Government to give us some guidance on when we can open the hall and how we can open it safely. And obviously the other thing is whether there's going to be some social distancing, face masks, or whether we'll be have to do, well, we will have to do a lot more cleaning, obviously. So whether we get those in guidelines soon. They've had them in England, and they have been, I think, like Hazel said earlier on, they have been bowling in village halls for a couple of weeks now, with certain rules and regulations. So there's obviously opportunity for in the future for us to get back together again. But I think some people won't want to come back together because of the until there's a an immunization program in place. But we'll have to try to find a way to try to communicate with those people as best we possibly can. And Zoom is an ideal opportunity. With regard to our finances, we have £506.20 in our account, or in our safe as of the 8th of April. So nothing's gone out since then. I don't see the need for having an annual membership. We've got enough finances at the moment, and I think when we do get back to going to the village hall to have talks, then the £2 per head covers our costs. And if we have some fundraising, like selling plants or doing some fundraising when we can, because we can't do any fundraising at the moment, I think we're okay with the funds at the moment. I think we're okay. I mean, if we still have the same view that we stay with not forming a committee and having a chairman and a secretary and a treasurer and a committee, then we'll just carry on like we are until such time as you all decide otherwise, I think. So that's what I wanted to say about the funds and things like that. We have got a couple of visits still on the cards. Paul and Liz O'Neill have said if we want to go in small groups or large groups to Llanteg, they're open right the way through till the end of October. So if anybody does want to go along in small groups, we can arrange that. I think that's your personal choice, really. From my perspective, because I'm sort of we haven't got any carers in for my mother, so basically I'm trying to isolate at the moment because she's 95, and I'm trying to keep as many people away as possible. So obviously there's a concern from my perspective, but obviously each one of you are different. And if you wanted to go to Llanteg, then I can sort something out with Paul. He's more than willing to do that. He's had about 100 people, I think, over the last few weeks since the gardens have been opened. We've got one more visit to Llanteg planned for the 12th of September. And Llanteg is up in Llangolman.
No, Llandeg, isn't it?
Is it Llandeg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Llangolman. So it's not that far away anyway, because I think when I last talked to them, they said they would be keeping the toilets closed. So because weren't far away, obviously it shouldn't be a problem going to the toilet before we visit. So that's still a possibility. But I've looked on the National Gardens Open website, and it does say that Llanteg is closed at the moment. So I'll have to find out if anybody still wants to go to see the gardens there at Llanteg. Then I'll ask, and we can go from there. But there's no other visits planned apart from that one. As far as giving talks, well, Trish, who's kindly organised the Zoom tonight. Trish would like to give us a talk on no dig, Charles Downing's no dig in probably after Christmas time. We haven't figured on a date for that yet. Paul O'Neill has come back to me, and he says he's got a talk ready to give us on plants we've killed, he's called it. So he gave us the one about the history of Llanteg, so he's willing to give us another talk. Now, we could, and I've focused on doing it either in the hall, or we could do it via Zoom, or we could actually get it on a YouTube and try to get it sort of as a pay for the YouTube sort of for the presentation, then, and then we could show it. Each person could show it on their own television or whatever. So that there's a possibility of doing something there. Zoom seems to be a good option.
If
Sorry,
I can
Trish.
just interrupt there, either the Zoom, either the YouTube option or whoever wants to give the talk, giving it from their own home, we can, in Zoom, you can share your screen. So, for example, if one of us was playing the YouTube video, we could share that with everyone.
Yeah.
So it would just look, instead of us all looking at all the different faces that we can see here, we would have a screen with the video showing on it, or the slide, or whatever. So there's lots of options.
Yeah, that sounds good. Because I think at the moment I've asked Paul, and he's quite willing to do Zoom as well. Asked Piers Lunt, he's the guy who is in charge of the Towie Gate project at Abergwili, and he's obviously wants to give us a presentation on designing hidden gardens. And again, they will give us those presentations via Zoom or some other medium. And I have spoken to Barbara Howells, who's the person who looks after Llangynnin and St Clair's gardening clubs, and she has given me a list of people who give talks. I think we've seen some of them. I think Ken and Pauline and Rosemary and Gwen have seen Ivor Mace and a few other people at St Clair's Gardening Club. Some of them went on a little bit too long, but so we've got a choice to pick what we want, really. So we don't need to be afraid of having 2 hours of Zooming. We could limit them to an hour, something like that. So yeah, there's quite a few of them interested in that. I've had a couple of replies back from the ones that Barbara Howells gave me. Some of them are quite interesting. So what I'll do is I'll circulate the talks that they give, and then you can decide then as a group what you want. The other thing is that the lady from, we were going to see at Glenbach, we were going to see the Monada collection with Caroline Whittaker. Caroline Whittaker, I don't know if you remember, she was on Gardening World about 2 years ago. She shows Monadas at the RHS Chelsea. She sounds, I never met her, but she sounds a very, very nice person. She's really didn't want us to come to visit Glenbach now, because they've been isolated for quite a while, but she's more than willing to come and give us a talk during the winter. So she's given me a list of talks that she will able to give us. So it sounds quite interesting, that one, and certainly to go to Glenbach and see the Monadas should be interesting. Is there any questions on that? On any other talks, do you think?
That sounds good. Sounds very good.
Thanks, Polly. Yeah, so I'll come back.
Yeah, you've done a lot of hard work there.
Thank you. I'll come back to you on the Llanteg thing, and we'll see what we want to do there. But that's the 12th of September. But the Monadas, I mean, we watched it on Gardener's World, and it was really good with Caroline Whittaker. And there's some people out there doing some really amazing things. And some of the talks that we could have, some on woodland gardens, some on lots about things about flower arranging flowers and things like that, as well as there's one I think on vegetables. The rest are on gardening and in general and things like that. So yeah. I mean, some of the talks that Caroline Whittaker, she's got a history of the medical qualities of Monadas, making of Glenbach, where she lives now, and gardening for pollinators and wildlife in the garden. And I think remember going back, Paul O'Neill mentioned that her husband, whose name escapes me, but her husband gives talks on bees and wildlife as well. So there's quite a, you know,
That's always interesting.
good ideas.
Mm.
So at the moment then, I've got sort of gardening visits. So I think they'll be the same ones that we had before: Llungarreg, Glenbark, Llanteg, Aberglasney, Abergwili. Probably to try to fit them in, hopefully be Picton, places like that. Hopefully in the spring things will have settled down a bit.
Well, Upton Castle is another one.
Yeah, Upton Castle is another one. So yeah, hopefully that will sort of, you know, we'll get a program together. Then we'll see what I've done with the people who have asked to give us a talk on. I've said provisionally that we will book them. I've asked for the prices and everything like that, and how much some charge per mile for travelling, and I've also asked for the option for Zooming as well. So, you know, so we could also, like Trish said, we could if there were people that wanted to come to the hall, we could show it on the new screen and the new sound system in the hall to those who are socially distancing within the hall, because we could probably socially distance with a group of say 20, 25 of us easily within the hall. And the sound system is up and running now, and the screen, so we could show it in the hall like that on the big screen. But also we could then zoom it then to people who can't. So we've got the internet there to be able to zoom it to the people who can't access it there. Or like Trish said earlier on, we could record it and share it that way. So there's more options. I think there's more options to get together, I think, because, you know, my argument here is that there could be, this virus could go on for longer, and it could affect a lot of people's lives because we're not talking to each other. And you know, difficult to get together if you're not comfortable being out and about in large groups. So it's important that it's important that we stay together anyway. Right, I think that's all I want to say on that. The virtual show, we've got quite a bit of interest, but we've had a few things through, but it's a bit of fun really. It's not like you know, trying to win something, because there isn't anything to win, frankly. But it's more about you know, having a bit of fun. I mean, Ruth and Kevin sent some things in as well, but Ruth has sent some things to me in the last few days. Some of her artwork, and yeah, that was really good. I wish I could share it straight onto the screen here with you, but
Screen pictures, but I like the snowman.
Oh, the snowman, yes, that was. I'll just show it to you now if I can find it.
But Roy, I don't know whether I got the gist of this virtual gardening thing. Are there going to be categories for these photographs?
I think it's just open to imagination. I'm just going to leave it open at the moment, because I think, Pauline, if we wanted to, we could change it as we go through the winter, and we could make it into a fun thing through the winter. This is Ruth's.
Oh wow! That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Well done.
That's my new hobby now. I'm just taking things about.
I mean, mine was terrible. I think I didn't compare mine with. I didn't actually put a photograph along the side of mine. I'll just go and find it while I'm jabbering along. And I tried to. I'm still looking at my grandchildren rather than anything else. Yeah, I mean, it's about having a bit of fun, I think. You know, and if
Yeah,
we can
we'll get on and do ours.
Yeah. This was my snowman, unfortunately.
It's very cute.
I didn't know it had a nose on it.
Very mean, you say.
I didn't have a glass.
That's that, Ken. I heard that. Yeah, it's a bit of fun.
That'll win a prize, Roy. That'll win a prize.
I think it's a bit of fun, really. You know, we've got the. Sorry, Ken. Did you want to say anything? No.
I was going to say, we seem to be getting a lot of mildew on our tomatoes. Are you getting the same?
Yeah, I think the problem I have with tomatoes is I've not got enough airflow through my greenhouse. And I'm stuck
Yeah.
with if I leave the doors open, the windows are automatically open. But if I leave the doors open, then the blackbirds are flying in. It's like the red arrows. They're coming in and nicking my whatever.
Roy,
Yes.
what we did with ours was we got a bit of old net curtain and we put it along the door.
Yeah. Oh no.
And
Yeah.
that's what we do.
In fact, last year I took the plastic out on the doors on the polytunnel, and I put netting on this. So it did work last year, but this year I've completely forgotten about it. But that's what's happened. Especially the tomatoes down the bottom of the trusses. The higher up they are, there seems to be enough airflow. But I think that's what I've got is mildew from the airflow. I haven't got enough airflow going through. So that's
I think the problem is it's just been so cold and wet that, okay, it gets wet, but then it needs the air to circulate, to ventilate the dampness off. So it's just fighting a losing battle, really.
It must be airflow because we haven't had any of that.
No.
We've got open top and bottom.
Yeah, I think it's what I've found is in the polytunnel. I've got some tomatoes in the greenhouse, and they're perfectly all right. But I've only got a limited amount. I've got less plants in the greenhouse. I've got more sort of courgettes and gherkins, so they're all ground level. Whereas there's plenty of airflow then through the greenhouse. But with the polytunnel, I have to open both doors, or like Rosemary said, put netting over the door to let the
that's what we've got. It works well, and then you just weight it down the bottom with a couple of pots so that it doesn't flap or anything, and it works beautifully.
Yeah.
Well, then don't you get a big reduction in temperature then, Rosie?
No, it's very good. You reopen the door in the morning and it's really hot, and then by the time
when it's cold and wet,
we just close the door up.
The temperature's going up, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if it's cold and wet, we don't open up.
I think if you want some netting, I've got Pauline. If you want some netting, I've got some netting there, which you could try.
Well, we have already got netting on our doors.
Right.
But we cover them up because it gets too cold in the polytunnel when it's at night time. But we already have net. Half of our doors are net to start with, and we cover them up. Well, we cover.
Yeah. What we do is we open the door and then you hang the netting from a couple of nails on the top, so it hangs down. You've got the door open, with the net curtain coming down.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah, but our the half net already.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're trying to keep the temperature in because otherwise things won't ripen and the plants will fail. Because we've got peppers in there which need a high temperature. So if we open the doors, then everything gets cold.
Yeah.
There have been some really cold nights this year. A couple of weeks ago, we had only 2 degrees one night. That's colder than in the winter here. Really cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's airflow anyway, Pauline. I think that's probably...
We've had plenty of tomatoes off them, so but it's just a bit disconcerting when you've got this powdery mildew on the leaves. So, but thankfully at the moment we're at the time where we're taking the leaves off anyway. So we just persevere.
Yeah. I mean,
powdery mildew is usually lack of water, isn't it? Powdery mildew is usually lack of water, isn't it? Is it not?
Right.
I think so. Probably it got too hot in the day.
They're actually in the ground. They're not in ring culture or in pots. They're actually in the ground. So, they can, and we water every other day. I mean, every day if it's absolutely red hot, but late on at night.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So the ground should be okay. It's not as if they're in pots and then they will get the wilt, because the Gardener's World last week, it is Monty's tomatoes had that problem because they wasn't getting enough water, and then they was going like a funny colour at the bottom.
Blossom
And
ends,
Yeah.
and that's due to the water hit and miss, like, you know what I mean? It's not constantly wet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have that problem this year. Split ones.
I'm afraid I've killed more tomatoes than I've managed to retain really over the last couple of years. So I'm not an expert here. So going back to the virtual show, can you know? I think just embrace it. Just have a go at it. You haven't, you know, even if it's just a couple of tomatoes, even if you want to do the art side of it, or do something, because I think it would be, it is good to engage, I think, and it's a bit of fun, you know, at the end of the day. And if it takes off and we in the winter do something different with insects, plant, you know, objects in the garden, insects in the garden, whatever, you know, it'll be a bit of fun really. And if we do something like Ruth has done with her portraits, would be quite interesting really. So yeah, I mean, see how that goes anyway. I haven't got anything yet.
How many applicants have you had so far?
Ruth's got 3. She hasn't. Kevin's got 3. And then
You've got one.
I've got 1, but I haven't really put any effort into it yet.
Yeah, we'll get cracking and do ours.
Yeah, anything really. It's just a bit of fun. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Right. We'll send something through. We'll send something through.
It's you know, it's not about win. I think it's not about prizes and having the biggest pumpkin and cucumber and whatever. It's just a bit of fun. I think, you know, if it goes into
doing something together.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes, if you can grow carrots, will look like carrots, yeah.
I can't grow carrots to grow.
Oh, yeah. And we put a net over this year, and we've still got bits of carrot fly. I don't know how the hell they got in.
Gosh.
We've still got the netting on it now.
I'll tell you a story. I put my potatoes in. I had this great idea. I listened to Hugh Richards, Hugh's Nursery, and he was growing potatoes on the surface. You put them on the surface, and you just put hay or straw or anything like that on the top. And I think, great, I'll do that. And they were coming on really well. You know, they were really good. And I hadn't pulled anything. I hadn't looked at anything. And then when I started pulling them, I had nothing but slugs in them. They drilled through them. They look like somebody's coming along with a shotgun and shot the potatoes. There's holes in them all over the place. I've never seen so many slugs. And then I started looking at them. And instead of putting straw on top, I decided to put dung and straw from the manure from the sheds. Because what that did is I transported the slugs in, and then of course the slugs came with the dung, and then the slugs then went down the stems of the potatoes and then stayed nicely in the potatoes until they were big enough to make more holes in. So I think I had a barrow full of completely, utterly useless potatoes. So lesson learned.
Disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken, with the carrot root
We've
fly.
lifted some, you know.
Yeah, Ken, with the carrot root fly, they can't fly above 2 foot. So I grow mine on raised beds anyway, but I put net curtains around on poles, and the whole of the top is open. And I don't get any carrot root fly doing that.
Right.
Ours is completely covered the sides and the top with this mesh we bought, where the rain can go through and the light, obviously. But
so they're completely covered. I think
because I can pull them easily. I don't have to move any net. Yeah.
Oh, we just put them in the polytunnel. We put a load of seed in, and then we keep pulling some of them out, the bigger ones, and then the little ones we just plant out. And we've had quite a few. No problem at all.
No, I don't.
Except for the mouse.
Not for.
I do go grow
They're not
mine in a block.
Sorry?
I get cabbage
Yeah.
root fly. If I don't cover all my cabbages, I lose them to every single one to cabbage root fly.
Oh no.
Which not everybody gets that. So, yeah.
Oh.
Well, no, I cover them, so I don't lose them. I've learnt my lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mustn't laugh too much because
It's all
Dee
trial
was-
and error.
Sorry,
yeah,
Rosie.
when Dee was giving us her talk on seeds and things, and she said she always starts hers very high up because of mice.
Yeah.
And I said, oh no, we don't have anything like that. Until this year, we had mice eating the carrots.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right?
Like, well, that'll teach me to open my mouth, won't it?
Yeah.
So I trapped out and got rid of it, so that's fine.
It is sensible to grow them. I mean, I've got just a little bench in a polytunnel, and I put all the seeds in start germinating them there. Then, so incidentally, I've got some Siberian kale and some other kale as well. If anybody like any plants, they're about sort of 2 inches tall at the moment. But once they're more mature, I'll bring some of those because they really are. We had kale last year, didn't we? We put them in the polytunnel. We had about 4 or 6 of them, I think it was, and just kept us going all through the year. And they'll grow outside because obviously they're Siberian. They're used to the outside, and they just keep on tearing the leaves off, and they just keep on coming. Rather like broccoli. They just keep on coming. So if anybody wants any of those, I'll bring some to the next virtual meet. Right, is there anything else with the virtual show then? I mean, I just want a bit of fun, really. I think it's just enter into the spirit of it. And I think, we got the idea. I think it's just, if we can get a few children as well to do some things, then fair. It's not about the numbers. It's just about trying to bring people together. And I think it'll work, really. Right, the only other thing I've got then is there's a gardener's question time with a virtual audience on Wednesday, the 2nd of September at 6 p.m. So if anybody, it's a Zoom meeting. So if anybody wants to go and look at that or get involved in that, you can get involved in the Zoom meeting. And if you want to give questions, you can do that. So that's a good little idea. It'd be good to look at that to see whether we can get ideas for what we want to do going through the winter, really. See if that works. Any other things?
You can. Mary sent that, so you can email that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
the only information.
I'll email you the link, but it's the gardener's question time, and it's on 2nd of September, and it's basically goes live on at 6:30 in the evening. So yeah, it'd be something different again. And I think I'll keep in contact with Barbara Howells from Llangennin and Sinclair's Gardening Club, because it looks like they've got restrictions as well. They haven't been able, obviously they meet in the school in Sinclair, so they can't have a meeting there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. And let's see how these Zoom meetings might work with talks on various things. But I'll send you a list of all the talks that are available at the moment. As I said, I've got quite a lot of emails out there, but I haven't had anything back from Aberglasney and Joseph Aitken at the moment. So I'm waiting for something back there. And then hopefully then we'll get a program together. And if we can't meet, at least we'll try, like Trish said, we'll try the Zoom and we'll go from there, because there's bound to be easier ways to do this than yeah.
That question time, you've got to register by 10 p.m. on Sunday, 23rd of August.
Yeah.
If you want to.
I'll send you the link out for that. And
yeah.
Okie dokie. Well done.
Okay. Right. I think that's about all I wanted to say, really. Aberglasney, there's possibilities of going to Aberglasney. It depends on how people feel. If you're isolating because of a reason of your own health, or there are quite a few people within our group who don't want to come meet together until there is an immunization program in place. So, I respect that, and we'll just go with that. But I think if we can just keep together and just keep communicating, we'll be okay, I think, But anyway, any other business, any other views,
It's
ideas?
just good to see everybody.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. good.
TV.
Look after yourselves then. I mean, Hazel, look after yourself. Georgina, look after yourself.
Well,
Yes, will do.
I still owe you the money, Roy, for the cauliflower plants. They're
Oh,
coming
that's okay.
through beautifully.
I tell you what, yes, I tell you what there is too. The other day when we went into, where did we go? The garden centre to get your pots.
Oh, Wyvale.
Wyvale, and they've got quite good lettuce plants. You know, they're about 3 or 4 inches tall. They've got cauliflower. They've got various other things in there, so that you can just go and, you know, if you want to grow things through the winter, then there's some winter cabbage there and things like that. So there are some things out there, even if you haven't started putting those in yourself. But yeah, I'll get those Siberian kale. I seem to have put in far too many that I really need.
Don't like kale.
Yeah, we've got ordinary kale that we're eating. We pick it well, and we have that for, you know, a couple of days, and then we let it rest. And we've been eating it all for ages now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
lovely.
I tell you what my son does. He puts it in the oven, doesn't he? And crisps it. And sprays it with, you know, like fry light, you know, the light stuff, the 1 calorie stuff, and then just puts it in the cooker, in the oven, and it sort of comes up like very crispy, but it's really nice, different texture, different taste again. But yeah, I'll go
That's very interesting.
We'll have to have a sort of cooking section as well, I think.
Yes. Good idea.
Has anyone had trouble getting compost from the
No.
garden centres?
No, not at the
We
moment.
get ours from we get ours from the pound shop, or the cheapie shop
Oh,
up
do you?
in Whitland.
Okay. Well, Westlands have actually delivered now. About the first people have been waiting for it in Pembrokeshire for weeks and weeks and weeks. So if anyone was waiting, they've got compost now in the garden centres.
Yeah, well, he delivered some out for us because he didn't have it in, and he said, well, I'll deliver it out to you. And he did that evening.
I'm a bit fussy because I just sometimes
That's good
things
to know.
don't grow. So I have, you know, what grows for me, let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Because you put all that effort in and then you get nothing. It's a bit soul destroying, really.
I think
Yeah.
Sorry, Pauline.
Yeah.
Pauline?
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Sorry.
We use the,
Pauline.
what's that one we get, which is good. We couldn't get hold of it, could we?
Well, the Humax, we took the last lot from Paul.
Yeah, I think Ryan did all that as well.
I don't know whether
we've
that's
done all right.
Westlands.
Yeah.
We got a good stock of compost earlier on, and we're not growing anything through the winter because we use our polytunnel for storing fuchsias and tender plants in the garden.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't have enough room to grow anything in the winter. And by the time we've grown all the stuff in the summer, I'm fed up of it anyway. So we have a rest.
Yeah.
I think
until the spring.
Of the ones I've tried so far, I mean, Ken mentioned Humax. I mean, I get it from Paul Webb. It's a bit more expensive, but heck is it? It's like a John Innan's compost. It's very, very good. It's light. It really grows well.
Have you had it recently, Roy?
I had some months ago, but I haven't. No, I've got about 6 bags. I think I had about 6 bags.
Yeah.
I've used all of them.
Yeah, I think we took the last of his earlier in the year, and we've not had need of it since.
Right. I know that I think Solly at Greenacre, she's got Leah. They had some Humax in there, some compost there, and you know, for me I know it's more expensive, but heck, it works for me.
Well, I used Jack's Magic this year and found it really, really good. Grew all my spring.
Oh, that's supposed to be very good. Yeah.
And which was what I was trying to get again and couldn't. But as I said, it came in yesterday, so I've got some now.
We're talking
I know this is a bit far-fetched, but we went up to Farmyard Nurseries at Llandysall yesterday, and they've got loads of compost there, but then that's quite a trek of a journey to go up just for compost.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Rosemary. Sorry.
Yeah, I was talking to Paul last week. We went up and got some ericaceous soil and a couple of plants, wasn't it? And he ordered some compost in May, and it was coming, I think, the end of last week.
Yes.
So he has got a new lot in.
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
All the nurseries around here.
Oh, that's good.
Same problem.
Yeah. Because going back to the quality of the compost, there's a place in Carmarthen. There's a composting place just outside Carmarthen. As you go out towards Cross Hands on the right hand side, it's a recycling place. It is, and they obviously compost all the waste. So my concern is with things like that is that you just don't know what's in them, because you could.
Merlin's magic, is it?
Yes,
that's
it.
I've used a lot of that.
Yeah, well, you said about this, Rosemary, because I looked at it and I thought I was going to get quite a quantity of it and put it in the polytunnel, but I'm glad I didn't, because the trouble is you don't know what's in there.
We got some because up at Whitland they were selling it, and we thought, oh, that was good, but nothing really grew, and you had all bits of things.
Yes.
Yeah. I found bits of tea
I got a load of it, and it seems to be fine actually.
Yeah.
I'm growing beetroot and broccoli and celery and celeriac and all sorts of stuff in it.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Yeah, it works for some.
It doesn't look different to other compost, but I won't spoil the story. I'm no dig, but yeah.
I think what I find irritating is plastic tea bags, because in some you end up with plastic tea bags, and I just cannot stand plastic. I mean, why put tea in plastic bags, for goodness sake? Anyway, that's
We'll have to write to them.
Yeah.
I use loose tea now.
Yeah.
So I don't have all the little tea bags in the garden, because I'm picking them out forevermore.
I give all of them to Pembrokeshire for their recycling. Food recycling. Let them take it on. Right. Okay. So we will organise another one again then, and we'll see another Zoom meeting again. I can't see anything else, but if there's anything else that any views, any ideas, anything like that you want to feed in, please come back, and if we can get together, certainly when the experience of when you go to the village hall, and with the wide screen and the sound system and the hearing loop for those who were hard of hearing, it's brilliant. It's going to add a lot to the hall.
That's great, Roy. Well done you for organising all that.
My boss is.
She's hiding.
No, it'd be nice to see you all again. Nice to see you all out and about.
Yes, you likewise.
But thanks very much.
Take care, everyone.
All right.
yeah, lovely to see you all.
Thanks, Trish. Thanks, Georgina. Thanks, Ruth.
Trish, for arranging it.
Thanks, Rosemary and Gwen.
Thanks for organising it.
Yes.
Really good.
Yeah.
You've done loads of work.
In the meeting.
Everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think it does put people off, seeing your face. Because I think last time I was on Zoom with the village hall, I obviously hadn't got rid of my nasal hair. So,
Oh no.
oh my God, I must have looked
We
like
don't wish to
something.
know, thank you.
I have got this mark
much
in the middle.
information,
I have got this mark in the middle of my forehead. I'm not converted to Hindus anymore.
You can always plan for it over that way.
Ken, how do you know? Pauline, kick him.
It doesn't work, Roy. It doesn't work. I just get a bad foot.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Georgina,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.